Good morning everybody, and a very warm welcome to Mildenhall and Volmer, and today is a Loco update for you because not one, not two, but three locomotives have now arrived to my layout, which have not been seen before, and this now means that my Class 66 parade video is out of date. So we've now gone from 18 Class 66s to 21. So there you go. I have three new 66s to show you. It's all to do with consolidating and culling and just remanaging my Loco stock and my Loco fleet. Once again, this is purely because I'm looking at building a brand new layout, but Mildenhall and Volmer will always be the main layout, but I'm thinking of building a sort of small end-to-end layout, and basically I'm going to be doing that in the kind of blue-grey period that I was using before when I first started Behringer. So basically that's kind of made me kind of take a good look at all my stock to see what is actually going to be needed and what isn't actually going to be needed. So basically I thinned out a lot of my collection and redirected the funds and things like that to get more stock for Mildenhall and Volmer. And basically then all the remaining stock will be used on the new layout when that comes to fruition at some point during the year. But like I said, today is a Loco update which involves four 66s and a 60. So let's get straight to it, and I will spin you around and take you to where we need to go. So see you on the other side. So firstly we have my Class 60, and this is one of my Lima conversions, and out of all the 60s that I've done, which is four of them, I think it's four or five, five actually I've done, this has been the most problematic of them all, and I finally got round to working out why, because the other 60s are working perfectly fine, and are running around the layout fine, but this one isn't, and it had a TTS chip in it, which I think I shorted it or damaged it when I put it on here, because anyone who has Lima Class 60s or any Lima locomotives, they tend to have a clip which locks in the trailing bogie, and that's a metal clip, and I think what happened was inadvertently the chip came into contact with that when it was under power and sent a surge through the chip, and I think it damaged it. And ever since then it hasn't been really working properly, but that's what I think's happened anyway. I can't be sure, but I didn't really realise it, and I've since managed to figure out that that's what it is, and I've swapped the chip out and I've put a different chip. It's a non-sound chip, but it's an 8-pin chip, and it is working fine. It also had a bit of corrosion issues with the pickups, so that needed to be tidied up and cleaned up as well. So now that seems to be running okay now. So now we're on to the 66s. Now, like I said, during my cull, I managed to, and this should be the final one now, I've now managed to redirect funds and things like that, and what I actually want, and consolidate what I actually want into a number of 66s, so another three have turned up into the layout. But one of them that I'm going to talk to you, which is the first one, isn't actually new, and let me just talk to you about that one first. So the first one to talk to you about is my Maritime Hornby Class 66. I love this 66 a lot, and the thing is about this 66 is I did say on my last parade video that I felt that when I sent it off, it kind of shot off like a Formula 1 car rather than a Class 66 freight train. So what I've done to this is basically I've been playing around with the CVs for the acceleration, and to get this to accelerate at a more realistic pace. So that's what I've done to this one. I've now I've changed the CV setting 3, which is the acceleration setting. If you read it on the pamphlet, it tells you what it is and what it's set to. And it was actually set to the default value of 15. And the range is from 0 to 255, slower being 0 being immediate and 255 being the longest. And I basically set the CV to half, which is about 127 or so. And so I've changed it to that, and now it accelerates at a much more sedate pace, like a class 66 freight train should. Also, because of the issue I had with the class 60 and the sound chip, basically I took the speaker out of that because it had an iPhone speaker, and I've then fitted it into this Maritime 66. So now this one and the Orange Freightliner 66, my Hornby one that is, have both got iPhone speakers in them. So that's another improvement that I've done to that. So I'll put that one away for now, and I'll show you all of them in a moment. So one of the new 66s that's turned up, now I'm going to talk about the 3 new 66s that have turned up, is, I'll give you some details, which is Hornby 3940, R3940 I should say, and this is the GBRF Newell and Wright Class 66 made in Sheffield. And it looks like this. So this on its own, on the picture on the box, doesn't look overly exciting or fantastic. You know, it's not going to jump out at you, but I've done some modifications to this one. So I'll talk you through the modifications. It's very similar to basically what I've done with all my other 66s by Hornby. I feel like all the Hornby 66s that I get automatically have to get a certain amount of modifications, which I'll talk you through once again. I did do a video on it, and I did actually show it live, I believe. So if you do fancy doing some of that, you can always watch that video too. But I'll talk you through it once again. So that's the first of the 66s. The second 66 that turned up was a Batman one. And I'll give you the details of this because you can't really tell what it is from this. It just looks like a standard Batman box, but I'll give you the details. It's R. That's Hornby R. It's 32734C, and it's class 66 100, and it's called the Armistice 100 1918 till 2018 DB cargo. And that is also on the layout, which I will show you. And then the last of my 66s, which has also turned up, was, again, it's a Hornby 66, here it is. It's a Freightliner 66, and the details for this one is R3921, and it's a Freightliner Class 66 514, which is that one. And again, this has had quite a bit of modification to it, so it doesn't necessarily look like what it's on the box, but I will show you that in some detail in a moment. So the first one I will take you to, so I'm going to spin you around and I'm going to take you to my first locomotive. So the first one is the R3940 made in Sheffield, and this is the Hornby version. And so this is what it looks like, but it doesn't look like this out of the box. This has had some modifications done to it, and it has basically improved the look, in my view, of the Hornby 66. I just think it's just a very standard thing that anyone can do, and basically it just looks so much nicer. So what have I done actually to this? Well, basically I have repainted the whole chassis. That whole chassis has been painted in a matte Vallejo black all the way around, and the reason why I do this is because I find that Hornby 66s straight out the box look pretty plasticky, and so you have to do a little bit of work just to sort of take that plastic away from it, and I think it looks so much nicer once the chassis is painted, and it's a very quick and easy job. Like I said, I have done it on the video previous, so please refer to that video. I have showed it to you how I've done it before. So that's something that's very quick and easy to do. Also, the headlights have been changed because, let me see if I can take you in a bit. There you go. So basically the awful headlights that you get with it, I just painted them over in a black and then put the two dotted lights in it like the real thing has. It doesn't have, the real one doesn't have the marker lights that come with this Hornby, standard Hornby. The Hornby standard 66s, you get the marker light, you get the main headlight, and then you get the tail lights. And obviously these 66s have now been in service quite some time now. A lot of them have been retrofitted, and they've just got the headlights and the marker lights, LEDs, and then they're switchable between front and rear, running on the main on the center lights. So basically, I've had a good look at the photographs of the real thing, 66747, to try and get it as close as I can without taking too many risks. One of the other things that I've done, another small thing that I've done, which doesn't seem a lot, but it's made a big difference to this, is that all the edges around the lighting, all this edging here, where the top meets the bottom, underneath the body, there was some white bits, so the blue didn't quite marry up all the way around. And so just by painting the surrounds underneath and on the sides, and just sort of painting it up so it marries up with this side here, it just makes such a huge difference. And that's all that it was required, really. I can go a bit further with this, which I might very well do. As you can see, the chassis has had the work, and you can sort of see it in better detail. It just looks so much nicer than the original plastic body. So that is the first class 66 to show you. So here is the second one, and this is 66 100, and this is Armistice 100, 1918 to 2018. Essentially, I'm not going to spend too long on this one because this one's virtually identical to my DB Cargo 117. The only difference with this one is that this one's been named. I haven't actually fitted the nameplates to this one, so I haven't really done too much with this one because I knew that my Hornbys needed some work first. So this one just doesn't really need any work. All I needed to do to it was fit a chip in it, which I've done, and that's all it needs, and that's all it requires. But like I said, the only other thing I need to do is just put the nameplates on it, and that is pretty much good to go as it is. So that's the second one. So here's my third one to talk to you about, and this is my Freightliner Class 66, 66514, and just zoom you in a bit. Now this has had a great deal of work done to it, and it's also a bit of a first for me because I've actually I say fully weathered it, but I have weathered it in a different way, which I've never done before. And it's something that I'm looking to do further forward, moving forward, to try and learn a bit more about doing weathering. Now the chassis has been painted in the same way as the NWT, and actually if I put the NWT right next to it, you might be able to see that there's a difference. Hopefully it will show it up. So I'll take you over then in a minute to show you the difference. So basically what I've done with this is I've done the headlights, which I'll show you in a minute. I've painted the chassis in the same matte black as the NWT one behind it. But the only difference that I've done with this is I've decided to spray it with some frame dirt, and it looks so much better for it. I don't know how well the camera's actually picking it up or how well it is to notice, but hopefully you can notice it. So here are the two side by side, and I think you can see that there's definitely a difference between the chassis on the right and the left. Now the one on the right, like I said to you before earlier, it's just been painted with a matte Vallejo black, which is absolutely brilliant. It still looks great and I love it. It's still better than the original finish. But what I've done with the Freightliner one, as you can see on the left, is that it's got this kind of brown tinge to it, which is the frame dirt. So if you look along it, you can see that on this one looks pretty black, whereas this one looks like it has been weathered and been worn and been run for a while. And I think you can quite easily tell the difference between the two. This is something that I have been experimenting with, and I find with these Hornby Class 66s is that they're perfect locomotives to do some experimenting with, because they don't cost the earth. So it's good to be able to experiment with these locos and enhance your skills. And I'm not claiming to be any kind of expert on weathering, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I am currently learning, and I am currently looking at this thinking I do actually like what I've done on my Freightliner 66, that I might consider doing the same to my other 66s. Not necessarily the Batman ones, because I think they're built slightly differently, but you never know. It's just like I said, it's just all about learning at the end of the day. And at the moment, I'm not sort of totally confident about doing it. I'm just sort of having a go. But these Class 66s by Hornby are cheap enough that you can sort of learn your skills on them, and if you make a mistake, it's not too bad. And I do think it does make a huge difference. Once again, if I just sort of pan you from the kind of black chassis to one that's been weathered, I think that does look nicer. But like I said, it does look good just painted. Even if you don't weather it, if you just paint it, it still looks so much better than the original plastic version. So something else that I've done with this particular 66 is I've also weathered the front, as you can see. And I've also changed the headlights, because I was looking at reference material on the internet of pictures of 66514 in various stages of its life. And to the untrained eye, it looks like it's on the kind of old Freightliner colour scheme, but it's actually in a hybrid of a colour scheme, because the Freightliner is still in its old style. But if you look at the front, it's got the new style logos on it, the new fonts on the front and on the sides here. And so when I was looking at the pictures on the internet on 66514, I was looking at pictures of it in this hybrid colour scheme, where it's got the old logos mixed in with the new fonts, new logos. And in the early days of 66514, it used to have the black surrounds on the headlights. But when this particular logo has been represented by Hornby, basically 66514 had a refurb, and part of the refurb was to redo the lights. So they got rid of the marker lights and just put the two lights on each side without the outer marker lights. And also it was yellow, and it didn't have the black surrounds anymore. So that's what I've represented here. I haven't fitted any lights. I'm not really planning on fitting any lights, but it has been weathered on the front as well. And the only additional thing it's had done to it is it's also had a TTS chip fitted to it. So this also has sound attached to it. I might go slightly further with the weathering. And like I said, it is a bit of a test bed, this one, but I really do like what I've done. I might go a little bit further with it. I might be adding a couple of extra detailing bits on the fuel tanks and things like that. I'll try and have a look at a few more photographs. So I'm not sure if I finished with it, but if I haven't, next time I will keep you posted in the loop, really, in terms of what extra bits I've done to it. So here's my last 66 just to talk to you about. Just like I explained earlier, this is 66047 Maritime Intermodal 2 in the DB Schenker colours. So like I said, I found that this one was accelerating quite hard and fast, and so I've changed the CVs on it, and I've also just swapped out the speaker. So we'll just have a quick listen. It definitely sounds much better and clearer than the one with the standard speaker in it, like the Freightliner one you just heard. So we're just going to sort of send it on its way, just so you can see the acceleration. So here we go. So it's a lot slower than it was before. So just changing those settings has worked wonders for it. So this concludes the end of today's video. So I hope you've enjoyed the video today, and I hope you like what I've done with my 66s. I'm going to still continue playing about with them and tweaking them and modifying them here and there, just to get them to where I want them to be. Like I said, if you are interested in painting up the chassis, there is a video out there that I have done where I actually showed it in real time, so you can do that. But like I said, I haven't actually done the video in terms of spraying up, because anything to do with spray painting and things like that is very difficult to film. So, but nonetheless, I hope you've enjoyed the video, and until the next time, it's bye from Milton Horn Farmer. Goodbye.